Push beyond limits. Rise above the ordinary. Rise beyond limits.
While the world sleeps, someone is rewriting their destiny. Why not you? While the world sleeps, someone is rewriting their destiny. Why not you? There is a moment just before the sun rises when silence becomes power. No noise, no distractions, no excuses, just you and the version of yourself you keep delaying. Most people will never meet that version, because most people are still asleep when opportunity knocks. At 5 a.m. there are no spectators, there is no applause, there is no validation. It's just discipline, raw and unfiltered. This is where the weak negotiate with comfort, and the strong make decisions that shape their future. You say you want success. You say you want peace. You say you want control over your life. But success doesn't come to those who wait for the perfect moment. It comes to those who create it in the dark when nobody is watching. The 5 a.m. architect understands something the average mind refuses to accept: that greatness is not built in bursts of motivation, but in the quiet, repeated acts of discipline. Every morning you hit snooze, you vote for the life you say you don't want. Every morning you rise early, you vote for the person you are becoming, and those votes, they add up. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is not talent. It is not luck. It is not even intelligence. It is the willingness to do what others avoid consistently. At 5 a.m. excuses sound louder, your bed feels warmer. Your mind starts whispering just 5 more minutes, but understand this, those 5 minutes are not just minutes. They are your edge. They are your advantage. They are the line between drifting through life and taking control of it. Because while you are lying there negotiating with comfort, someone else is already up. Already moving, already building, already becoming stronger, sharper, faster, and they are not waiting for you. The world does not reward intention, it rewards execution. You don't become unstoppable by thinking about discipline. You become unstoppable by practicing it when it's hardest. That is why 5 a.m. matters. It's not about the time on the clock. It's about who you become in that time. It's about proving to yourself that you are in control, that your mind does not dictate your actions, you do. Because the truth is, your greatest enemy is not out there. It's in here. It's the voice that tells you to stay comfortable, to stay safe, to stay the same. And if you listen to it long enough, you will wake up one day realizing you lived a life that never reached its potential. But the 5 a.m. architect refuses that fate. They rise when it's hard. They move when it's uncomfortable. They build when it's inconvenient, because they understand something powerful. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from weakness. Freedom from the life you never wanted but slowly accepted. So tomorrow morning when that alarm rings, you will face a choice. Not a small one, a defining one. Will you stay the same or will you rise? The alarm doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care how tired you are, how late you slept, or how comfortable that bed feels wrapped around you like a cage disguised as safety. It rings anyway. And in that moment, before your feet even touch the ground, a battle begins. Not with the world, but within yourself. This is the moment that defines everything, because most people lose right here. They negotiate, they hesitate, they justify. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, that they deserve rest, that one more day won't matter. But one more day becomes one more week. One more week becomes one more year. And before they know it, they've built a life on delay. The 5 a.m. architect does not negotiate. They move, not because it's easy, not because they feel ready, but because they understand something most people never will. Action creates energy, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel motivated. You move and motivation follows. You don't wait to feel strong. You act and strength is built. This is the shift. This is the separation, because the average person is ruled by emotion. If they feel good, they act. If they feel tired, they stop. But the disciplined mind, it operates on decision. A decision made long before the alarm ever rings. A decision that says, no matter what I feel, I execute. And when your feet hit that cold floor at 5 a.m., something changes. It's subtle, almost invisible, but it's real. You begin to take control, not just of your morning, but of your identity. Because every time you do what you said you would do, you build trust with yourself. And self-trust is everything. Without it, you hesitate, you doubt, you second-guess every move you make. But with it, you become dangerous. You become someone who follows through, someone who doesn't just dream, but builds. At 5 a.m., there is no room for distraction, no endless scrolling. No noise pulling you in 1,000 directions. Just clarity. And in that clarity, you start to see your life differently. You start to realize how much time you've wasted waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for approval. Waiting to feel ready. But the truth is, ready is a myth. No one feels ready when they begin. They just begin. And that's what separates the builders from the talkers. The builders understand that progress is not pretty. It's not comfortable. It's not always inspiring. It's repetitive. It's quiet. It's often lonely. But it works. While others are chasing quick wins and instant gratification, the 5 a.m. architect is stacking small victories that compound over time. One early morning becomes a habit. One habit becomes a lifestyle. And that lifestyle becomes a completely different life. You won't notice it in a day. You won't even notice it in a week. But give it months, give it a year, and you will not recognize the person you used to be. Stronger, sharper, more focused, more in control. Because you stopped letting your emotions decide your actions and started letting your decisions shape your life. But understand this, it doesn't get easier, you just get better. Better at ignoring excuses, better at showing up, better at doing the work when no one is watching. And that is the real power of 5am. It trains you to win the unseen battles. The ones that never make headlines, the ones that never get applause, the ones that build a foundation so strong nothing can shake it. So tomorrow, when that alarm rings again, don't think. Don't hesitate, don't negotiate. Move. Because every second you delay is a second someone else is using to get ahead, and they are not slowing down for you. They are not waiting for you to feel ready. They are building right now. The only question is, are you? There is a version of you that already knows what to do. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for the right mood. It doesn't look for comfort. It executes. But that version of you is buried under habits you've repeated for years, under excuses that sound reasonable, under a mindset trained to choose ease over growth. And every morning you ignore the alarm, you bury that version deeper. The 5 a.m. architect does the opposite. They dig. They strip away weakness, layer by layer, decision by decision. Because they understand something most people avoid confronting, that the life you have right now is a direct reflection of the standards you tolerate. Not your dreams, not your intentions. Your standards, if you tolerate inconsistency, you will live inconsistently. If you tolerate distraction, your life will feel scattered. If you tolerate comfort over discipline, you will never see your full potential. This is not punishment. This is truth, and truth is the foundation of all transformation. At 5am, there is no hiding from it. There is no one to impress, no image to maintain, no shortcuts to take, just you facing yourself, and that's why most people avoid it. Because it forces a question that demands honesty. Who are you becoming? Not who you say you want to be, not who you pretend to be in front of others, but who you are based on what you repeatedly do. The 5 a.m. architect answers that question with action. They don't wait for confidence, they build it. They don't wait for clarity, they create it. Because clarity does not come from thinking, it comes from doing. You want to know your purpose, start moving. You want to feel in control, start acting. You want to build a life that actually reflects your potential. Then stop waiting for a signal that will never come. At 5am, something powerful happens when you move before the world demands anything from you. You take ownership. Ownership of your time, ownership of your energy, ownership of your direction. And once you taste that, once you realize what it feels like to lead your own life instead of reacting to it, there is no going back, because you begin to see the trap. The endless cycle of waking up late, rushing through the day, reacting to problems, chasing time, collapsing at night, and repeating it all over again. That is not living. That is surviving. And survival will never lead you to greatness. The 5 a.m. architect breaks that cycle. They slow down the morning to speed up their life. They create space to think, to plan, to build. Because when you win the morning, you don't chase the day, you control it. But control requires sacrifice. You will have to give up late nights that lead nowhere. You will have to give up comfort that keeps you stuck. You will have to give up the version of yourself that chooses easy over necessary. And that is where most people stop. They want change without sacrifice. They want growth without discomfort. They want success without discipline. But life doesn't work that way. Everything valuable has a cost. And the cost of becoming who you are meant to be is letting go of who you are right now. At 5am, that cost becomes real. Because it's no longer an idea, it's a decision. A decision to step into discomfort. A decision to move when it's hard. A decision to prove, not to the world, but to yourself, that you are capable of more. And every time you make that decision, something shifts inside you. You stop seeing discipline as restriction and start seeing it as power. Power to choose your path. Power to control your habits. Power to build a life that is not dictated by circumstance, but by intention. This is where transformation begins, not in massive, dramatic changes, but in quiet, consistent choices, made early. Made often, made without excuses. So when that alarm rings again, understand this, it's not just waking you up. It's giving you another chance to raise your standards. Another chance to take control. Another chance to become the person you know you can be. The question is, will you take it? Most people are waiting for a breakthrough, a big moment, a sudden change. A burst of motivation that flips a switch and transforms everything overnight. But the 5 a.m. architect knows a truth that most never accept. There is no breakthrough coming. There is only the work. Quiet, repetitive, unseen work. The kind of work that doesn't feel exciting. The kind that doesn't give you instant results. The kind that tests your patience and questions your commitment. And that's exactly why it works. Because while everyone else is chasing intensity, the disciplined are mastering consistency. At 5 a.m., there is no rush for results. There is only focus on process. You wake up, you move, you build, again and again. And at first it feels small, almost insignificant. You sit there in the silence, wondering if it's even making a difference. Wondering if these early mornings are worth it. Wondering if you're just exhausting yourself for something uncertain. That's the moment most people quit. Not because they failed, but because they couldn't see the progress fast enough. But progress was never meant to be obvious in the beginning. It's happening beneath the surface. Every early morning is sharpening your discipline. Every completed task is strengthening your focus. Every promise you keep to yourself is reinforcing your identity. And identity is everything. Because once you start seeing yourself as someone who shows up no matter what, your actions begin to align automatically. You no longer debate whether to wake up early. You do it. You no longer question whether to put in the work. You execute. That's when discipline stops feeling like effort and starts becoming who you are. The 5 a.m. architect doesn't rely on willpower forever. They build systems, they create structure, they remove decision-making from the equation. Because they understand something powerful. The more you rely on motivation, the more inconsistent you become. But the more you rely on systems, the more unstoppable you become. At 5 a.m. your system begins. A routine that doesn't ask how you feel. A routine that doesn't depend on external validation. A routine that runs no matter what. And within that routine, you start to stack wins. Small wins, simple wins, but wins that matter. You finish what you start. You focus without distraction. You build momentum before the world even wakes up. And momentum is dangerous. Because once it starts, it becomes harder to stop than to continue. That's how lives change. Not in one massive leap, but in thousands of small, consistent steps taken in the right direction. While others are looking for shortcuts, the 5 a.m. architect is building a foundation, brick by brick. Day by day, and over time that foundation becomes unshakable. But understand this, the path is not easy. There will be mornings when you feel exhausted. Mornings when your mind fights you harder than ever. Mornings when every excuse sounds logical and every reason to stay in bed feels justified. Those are the mornings that matter most. Because anyone can wake up early when they feel motivated. But only the disciplined rise when they don't. And that is where separation happens, not in the easy days, but in the hard ones. The days when you show up anyway. The days when you move without emotion. The days when you prove once again that you are not controlled by comfort, you are controlled by commitment. That is the identity of the 5 a.m. architect. Not perfect, not always energized, but relentless. Because they understand that success is not built on how you perform at your best, it's built on how you respond at your worst. So when tomorrow feels harder than today, good. That means you are exactly where you need to be. Because pressure doesn't break the disciplined mind, it forges it. And every time you push through that resistance, you become a little stronger. A little sharper, a little more unstoppable. So don't look for a breakthrough, become the person who doesn't need one. Because when discipline becomes your foundation, success is no longer a possibility. It becomes inevitable. There will come a moment when no one believes in you. No applause, no recognition. No visible proof that what you're doing is working, just silence. And in that silence, doubt gets louder. You start questioning everything. Is this worth it? Is this making a difference? Am I wasting my time waking up this early, pushing this hard, sacrificing this much? That is the test. Not the work itself, but your ability to continue without immediate reward. Because the truth is, most people are not stopped by failure. They are stopped by the absence of results. They need validation to keep going. They need progress to be visible. They need reassurance that their effort is paying off. The 5 a.m. architect needs none of that. They understand something deeper, that results are delayed, but growth is happening now. Every early morning is changing you, even if you can't see it yet. Your discipline is getting stronger. Your focus is getting sharper. Your tolerance for discomfort is expanding. And these are the qualities that eventually produce results that others will call overnight success. But there is nothing overnight about it. It is built in mornings like this. Mornings where no one is watching. Mornings where quitting would be easy and continuing feels heavy. This is where identity is forged. Because when you keep going without external reward, you are no longer driven by outcome, you are driven by who you are becoming. And that shift is everything, because outcomes fluctuate. Some days you win, some days you don't. Some days you feel strong, some days you feel drained. But identity, if built correctly, stays solid. It doesn't depend on circumstances. It doesn't collapse under pressure. It doesn't disappear when things get hard. At 5M, you are building that identity. You are proving to yourself again and again that you can be relied on. Not by others, by yourself. And self-reliance is power. Because when you trust yourself, you stop hesitating, you stop second-guessing, you stop waiting for permission, you move with certainty. You act with conviction, you build without needing approval. And that is when your life begins to change in ways that others cannot understand. They will see the results later. They will see the progress eventually, but they will never fully understand the process. They won't see the mornings you wanted to quit but didn't. They won't feel the resistance you pushed through. They won't experience the internal battles you fought and won, because those battles are invisible, but their impact is not. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are separating yourself from the average. And separation is required for greatness. You cannot live like everyone else and expect a different life. You cannot follow the same habits, the same routines, the same patterns and expect extraordinary results. Something has to change, and that change starts with you. At 5M, not when it's convenient. Not when it's easy, but when it's necessary, because deep down you already know what you're capable of. You've felt it, in moments of clarity, in flashes of potential. In those rare times when you pushed past your limits and saw what was on the other side. That version of you is real, but it is not built in comfort. It is built in discipline. And discipline is not something you do once. It is something you live, daily, relentlessly, without negotiation. So when doubt creeps in, when results feel far away, when your mind starts questioning the path you've chosen, remember this, you are not behind. You are building, and building takes time. But if you stay consistent, if you stay disciplined, if you keep showing up when it's hardest, there will come a day when everything clicks, when the results finally catch up to the effort. When the progress becomes undeniable, when the life you once imagined becomes your reality, and on that day you won't look back and think about how hard it was. You'll look back and realize it was worth every early morning. At some point, the excitement fades. The energy you felt in the beginning, the spark that pushed you to start, it begins to disappear. And what replaces it is something most people are not prepared for: monotony. The same alarm, the same darkness, the same routine, over and over again. No novelty, no thrill, no dramatic change. Just repetition. This is where most people fall off. Not because the goal isn't important, but because the process becomes boring. They crave stimulation. They want something new, something exciting. Something that makes them feel alive again. But the 5 a.m. architect understands a truth that reshapes everything. Mastery is built in repetition, not in variety, not in constant change. In doing the same things at a high standard again and again until excellence becomes automatic. At 5M, you are not chasing excitement. You are building precision. You are refining your habits. You are eliminating friction between who you are and what you do. Because when your actions become automatic, discipline becomes effortless. Not easy, but natural. And that's the shift. Most people are trying to force themselves to act. The 5 a.m. architect removes the need for force. They create routines so solid, so ingrained, that showing up is no longer a question. It's a default. And once something becomes a default, it becomes powerful. Because it no longer drains your energy, it fuels it. You don't waste time deciding whether to wake up. You wake up. You don't waste energy debating whether to start. You start. And that saved energy, that preserved focus, gets redirected into what actually matters: building, growing, executing at a higher level. This is how you create leverage in your life. Not by doing more, but by removing resistance. And resistance is what stops most people, not lack of ability, not lack of opportunity. Resistance. The internal friction that makes simple things feel hard. Waking up early, starting the work, staying consistent, these are not complex tasks. But they feel heavy because your mind is not trained to handle them. At 5 a.m. you train that mind. You teach it that discomfort is not danger. You show it that resistance is not a stop sign, but a signal. A signal that you are moving in the right direction. Because everything meaningful sits on the other side of resistance. And once you understand that, once you stop running from discomfort and start walking into it, you unlock a new level of control. You stop avoiding hard things. You start seeking them. Not because you enjoy pain, but because you understand its purpose. Growth, expansion, transformation, and with every early morning that transformation deepens, you become more focused. Less reactive, more intentional, less distracted, because you are no longer living randomly. You are living by design. The 5 a.m. architect does not leave their life to chance. They don't hope for a good day. They build one before the world interferes, before distractions take over, before chaos begins. They create order, and order creates clarity. Clarity creates direction, direction creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. Because once you have it, you don't need to force progress. Progress starts pulling you forward. You begin to see opportunities others miss. You begin to act faster, think sharper, move with purpose. Not because you're special, but because you prepared, day after day, morning after morning. Without needing recognition, without needing excitement, without needing anything except the decision to continue. That is the power of discipline at its highest level. It doesn't rely on how you feel. It doesn't collapse when things get repetitive. It thrives in it. So when the routine starts to feel boring, good, that means it's working. Because the moment your habits feel normal is the moment they start shaping your life without resistance. And that is when you become truly dangerous. Because now you are not just trying to succeed, you are wired for it. Dangerous in the sense that life can no longer control you. Because control is the ultimate freedom. Not money, not fame. Not recognition. Control over your time, your mind, your choices. That is power the world cannot take from you. And it starts in the morning, long before anyone else is awake. At 5 a.m. you strip away the noise. You strip away the distractions. You confront the one person you cannot escape: yourself. The fears, the doubts, the soft whispers that tell you, stay comfortable. Stay small, stay hidden. And when you face that voice and still move, you are no longer the person it controls. You are the person it fears. You are the architect of your own destiny. Most people will never know this feeling. Most people will never rise while the world sleeps. Most will continue to negotiate with mediocrity, trading minutes for excuses, comfort for courage. Not you, you have chosen differently. Because the 5 a.m. architect knows that what you do in the dark determines what you get in the light. That the unseen hours, the silent mornings, the repeated small actions, they are not wasted. They are invested, compounded. Built into a foundation stronger than luck, stronger than opportunity, stronger than chance. And compounding is where the magic happens. Small wins day after day, month after month, year after year, they build something the untrained mind cannot see. But you will feel it in your strength, in your focus, in your confidence. In the quiet authority of knowing you can handle whatever comes because you've already handled yourself first. There will be mornings when every muscle in your body protests. Every thought whispers retreat. Every fiber begs you to surrender to sleep, to comfort, to ease. Those mornings are the proving grounds because greatness does not emerge from ease. It is forged in struggle, It is carved in persistence. It is shaped by decisions that refuse to be bent by circumstance or emotion. And every morning you rise, you reinforce a truth so few understand. Discipline is a choice, repeated until it becomes destiny. You don't wake up at 5 a.m. because the world demands it. You wake up because your life demands it, because your potential demands it. Because you understand that every second surrendered to hesitation is a second stolen from the life you are capable of creating. And the life you are capable of creating is extraordinary. Not because it is easy, not because it is handed to you, not because someone is waiting to approve it. Extraordinary because you made it, because you earned it. Because you refuse to settle for anything less than the best version of yourself. You will build, you will rise, you will conquer, and the quiet mornings will be your secret weapon. Your training ground, your invisible army of victories that compounds silently until the world cannot ignore them. By the time the sun rises, you are already ahead. By the time the world catches up, you are already building the next level. By the time excuses emerge, you have already acted. And this is the difference between those who dream and those who dominate, those who hope and those who create, those who watch life happen and those who make life happen. The 5 a.m. architect is not born, they are built. Hour by hour, morning by morning, battle by battle, victory by victory. And once you understand this, once you commit to this, there is no turning back. Because you have glimpsed a life few dare to chase, and you know without doubt that it is waiting for you. A life built not on chance but on choice, not on waiting but on action. Not on excuses but on relentless execution. And when the world sleeps, you are awake. When the world sleeps, you are awake, and that wakefulness is more than being out of bed. It is consciousness sharpened into purpose. It is vision refined into action. It is the recognition that life does not wait and neither can you. There is a war raging every morning between the comfort of yesterday and the promise of tomorrow, between ease and excellence, between excuses and execution. And the winner is always decided before sunrise. The 5 a.m. architect does not ask for luck. They do not hope for opportunity. They do not depend on circumstance. They understand that fortune favors the prepared, and preparation begins long before anyone else even opens their eyes. In the silence, you see clearly. The distractions vanish. The noise of social media, the pressure of opinion, the clutter of obligations, all fade into irrelevance. Only what matters remains, your focus, your actions, your standards. And in that clarity, strategy is born. Plans that seemed impossible in the chaos of the day are simple in the quiet of morning. Vision becomes actionable. Ideas become steps. Steps become momentum. Momentum becomes inevitable progress. But momentum is fragile. It can be destroyed by laziness, hesitation, or indulgence. That is why the 5 a.m. architect guards it fiercely. They know every small compromise erodes the foundation of what they are building. Every delayed action, every minute surrendered to comfort, chips away at potential. Discipline, once hard-won, must be defended relentlessly. It is not a temporary tool. It is a lifestyle, a mindset, an identity. And the strength of that identity grows in proportion to how many times you choose action over inaction, courage over fear, consistency over convenience. Every morning the choice presents itself: follow the path of ease or carve the path of greatness. Few choose greatness, most remain comfortable. But you, if you are willing, can rise while the rest remain asleep, building the life they only dream of. And when you do, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Your energy changes. Your mind sharpens. Your decisions become faster, clearer, more precise. People around you see results and they do not understand the cause. They do not see the early mornings. They do not hear the inner battles. They do not feel the countless small victories stacked silently day by day. They only see the outcome. They only see the success, and that is your advantage. Because success earned in the shadows of discipline is unassailable. It does not depend on approval, luck, or circumstance. It is forged in solitude, reinforced in repetition, and perfected through relentless commitment. And with each morning you rise, you are training yourself for every challenge ahead. Life does not wait for readiness. It delivers obstacles, resistance, and unpredictability. The earlier you wake, the more prepared you are. The more prepared you are, the less fear has power over you. The less fear has power, the more unstoppable you become. This is why the 5 a.m. architect is different. They are not simply awake, they are alive. Fully aware, fully present, fully in control. They do not drift through life. They shape it, they move it, they command it. And the incredible thing is this power is available to anyone, not a select few, not the chosen or the gifted. Anyone willing to rise when it is hard. Anyone willing to act when the world is still dreaming. Anyone willing to put discipline above desire, process above comfort, and execution above excuses. Because every morning you win, you accumulate leverage. Every small victory compounds into strength. Every silent hour builds momentum. Every disciplined choice creates freedom. And freedom, true freedom, is the greatest power a human can possess. The path is not easy. It will test you. It will push you. It will demand more than you thought you had to give. But if you rise anyway, if you commit fully, if you execute relentlessly, there is nothing the world can withhold from you. And that is the promise of the early morning. That is the edge of the 5 a.m. architect. That is the quiet revolution that reshapes your life. Because when the world sleeps, you are awake. When the world sleeps, you are awake. And in that stillness, you discover a truth most will never know. The only limits that exist are the ones you allow to remain unchallenged. Every fear, every doubt, every hesitation, they are not obstacles. They are signals, invitations to grow, challenges to rise above, tests of your commitment to yourself. The 5 a.m. architect understands this instinctively. They have faced the temptation to quit. They have felt the weight of fatigue pressing down, whispering, rest, stop, give in, and yet each time they respond with action. Not bravado, not stubbornness, but disciplined, deliberate action, because action breaks the power of doubt. Action creates momentum. Action builds identity. Every time you rise before the world, you are sending a signal to yourself. I am in control. I am capable. I am relentless. This is why the early hours are sacred. Not for productivity alone, but for transformation. When you act while others dream, when you work while others linger in comfort, you begin to separate yourself, not superficially but fundamentally. You evolve in ways that cannot be measured by trophies, titles, or accolades. You evolve in resilience, clarity, focus, and willpower, and the impact is cumulative. One morning of discipline may feel insignificant. One disciplined week may feel like a drop in an ocean. But months of repeated action, years of unwavering commitment, this is how empires are built. This is how mastery is claimed. This is how a life beyond mediocrity is realized. Most people are waiting for the perfect moment. They search for a sign, a spark, an opportunity delivered to them on a silver platter. But the truth is, the perfect moment does not exist. Opportunity comes to the prepared. It comes to those who have done the work quietly, relentlessly, consistently. The world does not hand out victories, it rewards the relentless. And that is why the 5 a.m. architect is unstoppable. Because they understand the secret most never grasp. Your environment does not create you. Your circumstances do not define you. Your feelings do not dictate your actions. Only your choices do. Every early morning is a choice. Every repeated act of discipline compounds. Every time you rise when the world sleeps, you are forging strength that cannot be taken away. You are building an identity immune to failure, impervious to distraction, and unshakable under pressure. This is why they say discipline is freedom. Freedom from regret, from wasted potential, from mediocrity. The person who rises at 5 a.m. is not a slave to their desires. They are the master of themselves. They move with purpose, they act with certainty, they create with intention. And once you taste that freedom, once you feel that control, there is no going back. Life may test you. Obstacles will come, resistance will rise, but you will meet it with a quiet confidence. Because the strength built in the dark, in the hours before dawn, cannot be undone by circumstance. Every sunrise becomes a reminder, not of time lost, but of power gained. Every day begins with choice, not chance. Every action taken before the world awakens is a brick laid in the foundation of your destiny. And when you reach the peak, when you look back at the life you built, you will realize something extraordinary. It was not luck, talent, or opportunity that brought you here. It was waking up. Waking up while others slept, waking up when it was hard, waking up consistently, relentlessly, without compromise. Because when the world sleeps, you are awake. When the world sleeps, you are awake. And in that awakening, you finally understand that life does not wait for the hesitant. It does not bend for the unprepared. It does not yield to the indecisive. It rewards those who rise before the noise, before the excuses, before the world even remembers to notice. Every morning you choose to act is a declaration. A declaration that you will not be ordinary, that you will not settle, that you refuse to drift through life as a passenger. You are the pilot, the architect, the builder of your destiny. And this path is not for the faint of heart. It demands courage the moment your eyes open, perseverance the moment your body protests, and vision the moment the world is still silent. It is a path paved with early alarms, cold floors, quiet solitude, and relentless repetition. Yet it is the only path that leads to extraordinary, because greatness is not an accident. It is not inherited. It is forged meticulously, deliberately, and mercilessly, one decision at a time, one action at a time, one morning at a time. The 5 a.m. architect knows that life will not give them what they want. They take it. They understand that success is built in the unseen hours, when no one else is watching, and when the only audience is the reflection in the mirror. They measure victory not by applause, but by the trust they earn from themselves. And self-trust is invincible. It cannot be shaken by failure, delayed results, or circumstance. It is the bedrock upon which all other victories are built. The more you cultivate it, the less the world's chaos can touch you. The more you honor it, the more unstoppable you become. Every morning you rise, every choice to execute, every second spent building while the world sleeps, you are stacking power upon power. Quiet, invisible, relentless. By the time the day arrives, you are already leagues ahead. You have already won battles that others will only recognize years later. And that is the truth most will never grasp. The small, consistent acts done when no one else is watching are the ones that define your life. They shape your character, sharpen your mind, strengthen your resolve, and carve a path toward the extraordinary life you were meant to live. So when the alarm sounds again, it is not merely a signal to wake. It is a call to arms, a call to action. A call to become the person who refuses mediocrity, who conquers resistance, who builds quietly and powerfully, who commands their destiny in the silence of dawn. Do not waste it. Do not negotiate with comfort. Do not wait for permission or motivation. Rise, act, build, repeat, because the world will sleep as it always does, but you are awake. And while the world sleeps, someone is rewriting their destiny. Why not you?